Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. Welcome to Study with Sudhir, and with this video, we are starting with the question and answer sessions of different chapters of Treasure Chest. बाद में Julius Caesar भी करेंगे. So this one is on With the Photographer, which is your chapter number 1 for the syllabus of ICSE class 10. तो इसमें मैंने MCQs ऐड किए हैं. ये वाले MCQs are more of recall and understanding. I wasn't sure कि आप कौन सी स्टेज पर हैं as of now, so I have not put more tough questions. I have not included them in this particular video. These are more of recall and understanding wale questions. I have not included the analysis and application wale questions in this one. And then there are a couple of questions to let you know how to exactly write the answers as far as the reference to context questions are concerned. तो अगर वो समझ में आ जाए तो आपके उसमें 16 मार्क्स बिल्कुल गारंटीड है. इंग्लिश लिटरेचर में आवर स्टूडेंट्स हैव ऑलवेज स्कोर्ड 100 on 100. ओके, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ आवर स्टूडेंट्स स्कोर 100 on 100, 80 on 80 प्लस द 20 मार्क्स जितने भी मिले आपके प्रोजेक्ट में. So that is our track record. Okay, that is our track record, and it's a track record we are very proud of. Okay, so I would want to kind of continue with the same track record. I am not doing any question bank or success test papers. I tried doing that for various reasons, which I don't want to get into. I have decided not to do it. I will be putting whatever I have to put out here for free on YouTube. Okay. So that will be the plan. There will be no success test papers for English literature. There will be no question bank for English literature. We are doing, because actually that idea was not there, but many students asked for it. So history, civics and geography ke courses, and from the students I can tell you फायदा हो रहा है, because the doubt solving is very instant for both history, civics and geography. We'll be doing our live classes, doubt solving sessions also very soon. And of course, the notes, the test papers, everything is top notch quality. In fact, as far as geography is concerned, we are kind of going in different phases. We have done chapter wise, then we will be putting out our second phase of test papers now. And now we are planning to put out a series of tough question papers. Tough question papers, which will all be part of the course. Which is part of the course, because we want to ensure that the geography ka jo students hain course mein, they get the best thing. They get to attempt the easy ones first, the moderate tough ones, and then the tricky questions first. So those are the three ranges. So in fact, the third stage ka, the preparation of those question papers is going on right now. Okay. So that's it, apart from topo sheets and map marking, जिसमें सबसे ज़्यादा marks students के जाते हैं. Okay, so let's get started with this, the multiple choice questions. One of these options does not describe the narrator. कि इसमें से एक option है जो कि narrator को describe नहीं करता है. Is he unnamed? See, the pro tip that I will give you is that please don't go for जो option आपको ठीक लगे. Always follow the elimination method. ये गलती काफी करते हैं, और अब तो खास तौर पे आपको elimination method follow करना ही चाहिए, क्योंकि recall तो ठीक है, अंडरस्टैंडिंग, एनालिसिस एंड एप्लीकेशन क्वेश्चंस में गूगलीज हो सकती हैं जो कि आपको कंफ्यूज कर सकती हैं. सो टेक दैट एक्स्ट्रा 10 to 15 seconds एंड एलिमिनेट द 3 रॉन्ग पॉसिबिलिटीज बिफोर चूजिंग द करेक्ट ऑप्शन. और ऑप्शन चूज करते वक्त प्लीज ऑलवेज, दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच एवरीबॉडी विल आस्क मी क्लोजर टू द एग्जामिनेशन, write the option number and write the answer also, so that it's clear कि आपका ऑप्शन नंबर क्या है. क्योंकि अगर आपकी हैंडराइटिंग बहुत माशाल्लाह हो तो आपका ए सी की तरह लगे, डी बी की तरह लगे, तो अगर आपने एटलीस्ट ये लिखा है तो द एग्जामिनर विल थिंक कि ओके, बच्चे ने गलती की है ऑप्शन नंबर लिखने में, लेकिन आंसर सही लिखा है. सो प्लीज राइट द आंसर ऑल्सो. सो द करेक्ट ऑप्शन हियर इज मास्क, because he is a customer, he is 40 years old, all these details are given in the story. He is also unnamed, but he is not masked. So this one does not describe the narrator. While waiting for the photographer, the narrator spent time doing what? Examining the studio. He did to an extent, but not while he was waiting. Talking on his phone, writing in his diary, or was he reading magazines? Now this is a straight recall question which you should not have an issue with. Option number D. When the narrator waited for an hour to be called into the studio, usko 1 घंटे wait karaya, he felt like what? An intruder, A scientist? No, that's the word he used for the photographer. He felt like a guest? No, hardly. He felt like a thief? No, there is no such mention. He felt like an intruder because he felt like he had come into the space of the photographer while he was probably doing something very important. So 3 ka, the option is option A. Fourth question, padho. The photographer's initial set of instructions conveyed that he was dash by nature. So this is an analysis question. He was bored by nature. He was chivalrous. Chivalrous matlab very gentlemanly and doing the right things. He was welcoming by nature, or he was brusque by nature. Brusque means someone who is a little irritated, someone who is a little rough in the way he deals with people. So the correct option is fourth D, that he is not very polite in the way he deals with people. This one could have been impolite, it could have been rude. So all these words are synonyms of brusque. So you need to know the word meanings. The tone of the story is shocking, satirical, comical, or is it creative? What do you think is really the tone of the story? The tone of the story is satirical. The studio was well furnished, was dimly lighted, was very big, and or was it quite modern? The sixth ka, it is dimly lighted. What part of the narrator's face remained unchanged in his photograph? Because photograph में उसने काफी फेर बदल किया है, लेकिन एक particular organ of his face he had not touched. Was it his ears, his eyes, his eyebrow, or was it his mouth? The correct option is A. The frosted frosted skylight is a symbol of what? Is it a symbol of nature? Is it a symbol of manipulation? Is it a symbol of creativity? Or is it a symbol of lack of creativity? Okay, so the correct answer, this one. Now, this is an analysis question. It is manipulation, and I will tell you exactly how it is a case of manipulation, because the type of skylight, in fact, I've written a note out here, it diffuses the natural light. Okay, I've explained it in the video also. Please see the videos for a detailed understanding. These are not 12-minute, 15-minute videos की एक summary बताया, काम खत्म कर दिया, उससे आपका फायदा नहीं होगा. And these have been explained in English for a specific reason, because you need, by 10th class, you should be able to understand literature in the main language, because you need to write the answers in the same language. So if you understand it in Hindi or in any other vernacular language, when you are writing your answers in the examination hall, trust me, it is the same thought process that will come, and that will really impact the way you write your answers. Trust me, that's the way it will be. So please see the videos for a detailed understanding. It is manipulation because the type of skylight diffuses the natural light. So it is manipulating that. So it is creating a soft illumination instead of direct harsh sunlight. So the frosted skylight that he has used in that particular chapter, it symbolizes the very controlled environment inside the photo studio, where everything, including the light, is manipulated to create a specific effect. So that understanding, you need to be able to understand and analyze why a particular phrase, especially frosted skylights, especially frosted, has been used, because he wants to convey that he has manipulated even sunlight in order to create a certain effect inside the photo studio. Okay. See, it's very easy for me to just keep on ticking mark the thing, but I want to ensure that this kind of a test becomes also a revision time for you. And if there are any doubts, those doubts can also be addressed. The photographer looked very grave and shook his head. Grave means very serious, and shook his head almost because he's very disapproving, because he was annoyed, because he was annoying, or he was disapproving of the narrator's face. That's the right option. Or was he praying? So ninth ka C. When the photographer looked at the narrator, his expression lacked what? His His expression lacked interest. His expression lacked warmth. His expression lacked cheer, means happiness, or did it lack enthusiasm? His expression lacked enthusiasm. 10th ka D. And this is, I think, this is a recall question because that's the word that has been used. Let me just cross check it once again, because when I'm doing it, ये क्वेश्चन पेपर बना के मेरे को एक हफ्ता हो गया. I'm recording it after a week. एक मिनट. I remember this. When the photographer looked at the narrator, his expression lacked enthusiasm. Without enthusiasm, it's a second line in the chapter. Okay, मैं थोड़ा confused हो गया. With the photographer is an extract taken from. Now this is, I found it somewhere. Now this is not something which I have even mentioned, and I don't think it really requires, but since it is there somewhere, I don't know where this is not my original question, it's taken from somewhere. So I included it because by chance अगर आपसे इस तरह का सवाल पूछ दिया जाए, so 11th का the correct option is behind the beyond. Okay, it is an extract taken from this particular book. Initially, the narrator thought that the photographer had a dash side to him, human side to him, boastful side to him, rough side to him, rude side to him. 12th ka A, human side to him. According to the narrator, his face was a gift from his parents, heaven, his DNA, the photographer. The correct option is B, 13th B, heaven. That's again, it's a recall question. It's a recall question. So आपको हर एक word याद होना चाहिए, उसी को टेस्ट किया जाएगा आपके एग्जाम में. The sulfide is a process to remove the ears entirely, remove the ears partially, add the ears, or remove unwanted hair. The correct option is 14th A, remove the ears entirely. When the photograph was unfolded, both men looked at in anger, bewilderment, silence, or is it disgust? So the correct option is silence. Both of them were in silent. Again, a recall question. The exact word that the author has used in the story. It would be right to conclude that the narrator felt dashed by what the photographer did. Now, this is an application or an analysis question. Confused, baffled. Baffled means, again, it's a synonym of confused. Humiliated or cheated. So 16th ka C, he felt very insulted and humiliated. The Delphide was a process used by the photographer to add new features, remove existing features, change into black and white, or make the smile of the person broader. 17th A, add new features. The narrator did not read one of the following magazines while waiting. Identify. This is a straight recall question. Girls Magazine, Infants Journal, Ladies Companion, or was it D? So 18th is D, Sports Journal. Is it me? This question by the narrator conveys amusement, surprise, anger, or treachery. The correct answer, 19th B, it is surprise. Which of the following options contains the same literary device that appears in the following line? The machine still staggering from the shock. तो इन लाइंस में, ये पेट्रियट का लाइन है, रॉबर्ट ब्राउनिंग का पोएम, पहले ट्रेजर ट्रोव में होता था. सो इसमें से कौन सा लिटरेरी डिवाइस इसमें भी इस्तेमाल किया गया है और इन चारों ऑप्शंस में भी एक में इस्तेमाल किया गया है? The house roof seemed to heave and sway. right? There are a lot of people sitting on the house rooftops, so it seemed to kind of heave and sway. In the vestibule below was a letter box. Vestibule is a small passage kind of a thing which kind of connects two different things. So heavy they were, tidal waves come over the islands. It became transparent like a thin veil. The correct one is this one, because both of them is the literary device which has been used is personification, because यहाँ पर हुआ है as though the machine is staggering. Staggering is used for an elderly person, right? Staggers, थोड़ा डगमगा के चल रहा है, not a steady walk. And here the house roofs has been personified, seem to heave and sway. Again, that is a human kind of a movement. So option A is the correct one. This is using the literary device of personification. Okay, let's look at the questions and answers, the long reference to context one. Now, this is from the specimen paper itself, because there are some of you who said specimen paper ka question solve karna hai. So this is the passage which has been given from the beginning part, or no, this is the second part of the story where he is showing him the proof of the photograph. So the first question is, where was the narrator? Why had he gone there? Why do you think there was a certain pride in the photographer's manner? This is how you need to write the answer. The narrator was at the studio of the photographer. So you are answering the first, ek mark ke liye, you are establishing where the narrator was. He had gone there, and then you are giving the reason, because he wanted to get his photograph clicked, that is this thing, after his death. There was, and because he wanted to check, actually this is not right, because he wanted to check the proof of the photograph that had been clicked by the photographer, and he wanted the photograph to be given to his friends to remember him after his death. So please correct this one. ये मैंने ठीक से नहीं लिखा है. You need to write this because he wanted to check the proof of the photograph. So please pardon me for this one. ये पूरा लिखना है. Okay. There was a certain pride in the photographer's manner because he thought highly of his technical expertise. He was also proud of the manner in which he had used Delphi to correct all the features on the face of the narrator that he did not like in order to make the photograph look presentable. So अगर आप ये पूरा detail लिखेंगे, there is no way the examiner can cut even half a mark in your answer. इस बात का please आप ध्यान रखिएगा. Okay, so ensure that you give all the details in all the parts. Take your time. 16 minutes का we will do about the time management strategy वगैरह बाद में, but ensure that you do it. I mean, approximately you can always take it in 20 and 25 minutes for one section. So you do full justice to it. What does the word proof mean in this context? Why did the narrator ask, is it me? The word proof means a sample impression of the photograph before the final print. So आपको proof का मतलब आपको समझाना पड़ेगा. Okay. The narrator asked, is it me? तो इसका आपको 1 मार्क मिलेगा. ये आपका 2 मार्क का है. Because he could not recognize himself in the photograph that had been altered beyond recognition. This phrase is important because उसका photograph ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी और का photograph डाला है, but the photograph has been altered so much that he could not even recognize himself. While the photograph was picture perfect in terms of having good eyes, the mouth, the facial expression, everything, but that is not him. It looked nothing like the narrator's face. So that was the problem, which is why he asked, is it me? Which of the narrator's facial features had the photographer altered? The narrator's eyes, eyebrows, mouth, hairline had been altered completely, while the eyes had been retouched. The eyebrows had been completely removed. So आपको यहाँ पर details देना है. The mouth had been adjusted and he wanted to make a new brow line for the hair. So these details you need to give because आपको यही पूछा गया है इस क्वेश्चन में. What was the only part of the narrator's face that seemed original in the photograph? How did the photographer plan to fix this? The narrator's ears were the only feature that remained original in the photograph. However, the photographer planned to fix this in the print by using a process called sulfide to remove the ears entirely. Last question, which is a more detailed analytical question. At the end of the story, the narrator flies into a rage. What makes him angry? How would you justify? Now, this part is important. ये आपका personal opinion है. लेकिन इस पर्सनल ओपिनियन में भी आपको यू विल हैव टू डू दैट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ फैक्ट्स. At the end of the story, the narrator flies into a rage because the photo, so that you are able to connect it to the question कि मैंने इस part of the question का answer यहाँ दिया है. Because the photographer's proof had no original facial features and instead was an altered product, the photograph bore no resemblance to him. The narrator's angry outburst is justified because he had been patient all along. Okay, putting up with the idiosyncrasies. So I've tried to elevate the quality of your answers by using certain words, जिससे कि the examiner को लगे कि okay, this student understands English literature better than many other students. Of the eccentric photographer, eccentric मतलब sunky and very strange behavior वाला photographer. So please note down these two words and try to use them in your answers in this particular chapter. When he was finally offered this proof, he felt that his patience had been tested कि उसको काफी टेस्ट किया जा रहा है. He felt humiliated by the photographer's insensitivity. This is an extremely important word which has to be used in this particular chapter's answers, and the manner in which he hurt his self-esteem and body shamed him. Another important. ये सब मैंने आपको वीडियो में भी बताया है, so please use this thing. For those of you who have been asking about which question bank to use, see, I personally feel, and I found some strange comments being used by some of them. Some students said the answers are very long in the sorry, not this one. In the Oswal question bank, you need long answers because you need to ensure that you have all the points covered. So please don't look for छोटे answers लिखने या लंबे answers लिखने. You need to answer all specific things which have been asked in this question. So please remember that. So the attempt of any book writer would be to ensure that कि मेरे से कोई point छूट ना जाए ताकि बच्चे को नुकसान ना हो. आप ज्यादा लिख देंगे तो उससे नुकसान नहीं होगा, लेकिन कम लिखेंगे तो नुकसान जरूर होगा. Of these, I personally like this question bank very much. I really think this is very good because it also contains notes which will be very useful while you are revising either Treasure Chest or Julius Caesar. So this is something which is going to be very useful. You can take a call whether you want to buy the sample paper. There are 10 sample papers in this, but of the two, मेरे को ये ज़्यादा पसंद है. I find this to be a very thorough kind of a product. Again, as I've said, go to the Oswald books instead of buying it from a bookshop or from Amazon. If you go to Oswald Books ka website and use Sudhir 10 discount coupon code, you get an additional 10% discount. So that is something which you can do. I have been saying this, the essays book ka very few copies are left now. I know it for a fact from last year's experience that in the month of January end, तब तक हमारे बुक्स सारे सोल्ड आउट हो गए थे. स्टूडेंट्स वांटेड टू बाय द बुक्स. उस समय पर बुक्स अवेलेबल नहीं थी. इस साल मुझे लगता नहीं है कि तब तक भी रहेगा. आई डोंट थिंक आई विल बी प्रिंटिंग मोर कॉपीज. ऑलरेडी आई प्रिंटेड इट ट्वाइस दिस ईयर. ओके, आई डोंट नो वेदर आई विल प्रिंट इट अ थर्ड टाइम. एज ऑफ नाउ देयर इज नो सच प्लान. तो अगर आपको एसेस बुक खरीदना है तो प्लीज डू दैट. प्लीज डू दैट राइट अवे. ओके, ये अभी कर दो because बाद में copies available नहीं होंगे. At that time I will not be able to help you at all. And this book, I mean I should put out some of the testimonials sent by the students, and those students who have bought the book. I would say that if you can just put it as a reel or a story, giving your opinion about the book and tag me Study with Sudhir on that, we will also share it so that it becomes like your brand ambassadors, because many of you have written such nice things about the book because the way it has helped you move from a 9 out of 20 to a 17 or an 18 out of 20 or 11, 12 out of 20 or to a 18 out of 20 or a 5 out of 10 in letter writing to a 9 out of 10 in letter writing. That makes me very happy because that means that you are using the product well, and that's precisely the idea. हमारे 12th class की book अभी release होगी, which I think is a very fantastic product. Before Diwali it will be out. बहुत मेहनत लगी है उसमें. There are 3 editors who have worked on it apart from me. There are 3 proofreaders who have worked with. A fantastic design team has designed the book. It has turned out very well, very well. I'm very proud of the product. the way it has turned out. So अभी printing में है, I think by next week before Diwali definitely it should be out. So अगर आप 10th class में हैं and if you think you're going to continue in ISC next year, buy that book now. I'm not trying to say कि sales खरीदने के लिए, because उससे फायदा ये होगा, you can use that book के 60 essays even in 10th class, because none of the essay topics have been repeated in the 10th class book and in the 11th 12th class book. No, they're all separate topics. So you can use those topics also, because काफी सारे topics overlap होते हैं 10th class और 12th class के board exams में. तो अगर आपको यहाँ के 72 topics वहां के 62 टॉपिक्स भी मिल जाएं, सो यू आर काइंड ऑफ, यू गो इनटू द एग्जामिनेशन हॉल कि कोई भी टॉपिक आ जाए मैं तो फोड़ के आऊंगा, राइट? सो दैट इज द एडवांटेज दैट यू कैन हैव. ओके, लेट्स गो टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज फ्रॉम द आइटम बैंक. ओके, द years are bad. This is the passage. I'm not reading out the passage. This is when he's telling him about his physical features. Describe the photographer's appearance. Why did he look at the author without enthusiasm? What impression did he get of the photographer? This is a recall and analysis question. Was a drooping man in a gray suit with the dim eye of a natural scientist. I have used the keywords from the chapter. जितना ज्यादा यूज करोगे उतना ज्यादा फायदा होगा. सो कीवर्ड्स को अंडरलाइन करो अपने टेक्स्ट बुक में या किसी नोटबुक में लिखो और उसका इस्तेमाल करो अपने आंसर्स में जहां पर भी पॉसिबल हो. इस पर्टिकुलर आंसर में पॉसिबल था, पहले वाले में इतनी पॉसिबिलिटीज नहीं थी. He looked at the author without enthusiasm as he did not seem to like his face. The author also suspected that he may have broken into the privacy or intruded into the privacy of the photographer's scientific pursuits. Again, I have used a key phrase. The impression that he got was that the photographer lacked warmth and emotion, right? So that is something which you will write. Where did the photographer make the author sit? Describe the photographer's initial attempt to take a picture. The photographer made the author sit in a beam of sunlight filtered through a sheet of factory cotton. This entire phrase I have taken. अगर आपको पूरा phrase याद भी नहीं है तो अगर आप beam of sunlight को भी quotes पे डाल देंगे उससे भी फायदा होगा. So जहां पर भी मौका मिले, use key phrases from the text itself. The photographer then rolled a machine into the middle of the room. This is basically a recall kind of a question. Recall and understanding question. He remained inside for a second, came out again and tore at the cotton sheet and the window panes with the hook stick, apparently frantic for light and air. So this is basically quoting from the text. तो यहाँ पर आपका recall test हो रहा है, आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग टेस्ट हो रही है कि क्या आपने क्वेश्चन को ठीक से समझा है या नहीं. और तीसरी बात, एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, इज दैट द आइडिया बिहाइंड राइटिंग दिस आंसर्स इज टू टेल यू हाउ डू यू नीड टू अप्रोच द आंसर. किस भाषा में आपको उस आंसर को लिखना पड़ेगा, किस तरह के लहजे में लिखना पड़ेगा, so that you get the full marks. What instructions did the photographer give the author before taking his photograph? Recall. The photographer asked the author to droop his ears a little more, roll his eyes under the lids, put his hands on his knees, turn his face a little upward, expand the lungs, contract the waist. So ये सारी छोटी छोटी चीजें आपको याद रखनी पड़ेगी, because अगर रिकॉल में अगर आपको ये सारी चीजें याद नहीं रही और जो शब्द ऑथर ने इस्तेमाल किया है, then you will lose marks. So please remember the phrases that the narrator uses. Which feature in the author's photograph had some resemblance to his face? How did the photographer offer to set this right? Only the yes. No, this is all recall. I find it a little strange. There's so many recall questions. Ideally, recall should be just one or maximum two. Uske baad more of understanding hai. So I am not very happy with this item banker question. Closer to the examination, I will give you more questions which I have prepared, but that will be closer to the examination, which are more analytical and application-based questions. Okay, because I was not sure कि आपकी तैयारी कितनी है अभी इस समय पर. Only the ears had some resemblance to the face. The photographer offered to set it right in the print by using a process called sulfide, which would remove the ears entirely. Now, this last question is an analysis question. Okay, so इसमें पूछा गया है कि mention one day. I have explained this in the video also. Any doubts? Look at the video. Give one reason why the photographer's action was insensitive. The photographer's act of retouching and altering of the author's photograph amounted to insensitively manipulating the real looks of the author. In the process, he also body shamed the author by telling him that he thought what he thought was wrong with his face and made him feel inferior about his looks. Please write down this answer because this is an important answer. Okay. पांचवा क्वेश्चन आपको इस तरह का एनालिसिस क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है. नाउ दिस इज an opinion, but ensure that when you're writing it, usme dum ho, the argument should look solid. A modern day equivalent of what the photographer attempted to do is how various filters, आपके Instagram और वगैरह में, Snapchat वगैरह में filters जो होते हैं available on smartphones can digitally, smartphones and different apps भी लिख दीजिए यहाँ पे, can digitally alter any feature of a person to make him or her look better or worse. It is often used by advertising agencies to promote unrealistic beauty standards as well. This is a fantastic point. So अगर आप इस तरह से दो reasons देंगे तो you will get the 2 marks which have been allotted for this in the final question. So please ensure that you note this down. The photographer's action was insensitive because he made the author feel small, yani ki he humiliated him. By his words and actions, he presented a caricature, means almost like a cartoon figure instead of a photograph to the author. Because when you go for a photograph, you are wanting the real self. But what he presented was almost like a caricature, a cartoonish kind of a figure, by making him conform to what he thought were the ideals of good looks. He thought this is how a good-looking person should look. But the problem was that the photograph looked nothing like what the person, narrator, really was. So with this, we come to the end of With the Photographer Ke MCQs and question and answers. The idea was to tell you how to present your answers in the examination. So please keep this in mind, all the small things that I have told you, all the tips I have given you, so that the 16 marks you don't lose out. MCQ के लिए एक चीज जरूरी हो गई, और एक और चीज somebody has been asking, which chapters should be prepared, वो percentage study वाला. I will not do any तुक्केबाजी कि ये चैप्टर आ सकता है, ये चैप्टर. How will I know? How would anyone know? If anyone is trying to tell you कि ये चैप्टर आएगा, ये चैप्टर आएगा, he is just doing stupid तुक्केबाजी. So please don't go by all that. Please study the 5 poems, the 5 stories. इतना ज्यादा नहीं है. And follow all these videos so that you get an idea about how to approach the MCQs and the reference to context questions. Okay, the more you practice, the more you understand, the better you will do in your examination. Okay, tata, bye bye. I will now meet you in the next video, which will be on the elevator. Okay, bye bye, namaskar.